Colt Walker. The Colt Walker was the first truly powerful repeating handgun, created in 1847 through collaboration between Samuel Colt and Texas Ranger Captain Samuel Walker during the Mexican-American War era. This massive .44 caliber black powder revolver featured a 6-shot cylinder with single-action mechanism and weighed an incredible 4.5 pounds when loaded, making it the heaviest production revolver ever manufactured. The Walker's 9-inch barrel gave it devastating power. Reportedly capable of killing a horse or penetrating multiple men at 100 yards, and it held the title of world's most powerful handgun until the .357 Magnum arrived in 1935. Only 1,100 units were manufactured in 1847, issued primarily to U.S. Mounted Rifles and Texas Rangers at a cost of $28, equivalent to over $1,000 in today's currency. The weapon established Colt as America's premier firearms manufacturer and gave Texas Rangers an overwhelming firepower advantage on the frontier. However, many Walkers exploded due to design flaws from overloading the chambers. The survivors are extremely valuable today, with authentic examples fetching $100,000 to $200,000 at auction, and historians estimate only about 10% of the original production still exists. Captain Samuel Walker himself was killed at the Battle of Huamantla in 1847 while carrying these revolutionary revolvers. Colt, 1851, Navy revolver. Navy revolver became the most popular percussion revolver of the pre-Civil War and Wild West era, with production from 1850 to 1873 manufacturing over 250,000 units, making it the most successful revolver before the cartridge era. This .36 caliber weapon featured a 6-shot cylinder and distinctive octagonal 7.5-inch barrel, weighing just 2.6 pounds, much lighter than the massive Walker that preceded it. The Navy earned its name from the naval battle scene engraved on every cylinder depicting the 1843 Battle of Quimper, and many considered it the most elegant Colt design ever produced, perfectly balanced for shooting. The revolver was available in multiple barrel lengths, including 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch, and 7.5-inch versions, with prices making it accessible to both military and civilian buyers. Wild Bill Hickok famously carried a pair of Navy Colt throughout his career, and he had them during the infamous Dead Man's Hand poker game when Jack McCall assassinated him in Deadwood in 1876. Both Union and Confederate forces used the Navy extensively during the Civil War, and it remained popular even after cartridge revolvers were introduced because of its reliability. The 1851 Navy was considered the gentleman's revolver, often featuring ivory or pearl grips, and its serial numbers eventually exceeded 200,000 before production ceased. Sharps Rifle. The Sharps rifle was a single-shot breech-loading rifle manufactured from 1848 to 1881, earning the nickname Old Reliable, and becoming the favored weapon of buffalo hunters and military sharpshooters across the American frontier. The rifle's revolutionary falling block breech mechanism allowed shooters to fire 8 to 10 aimed shots per minute, nearly triple the rate of traditional muzzle loaders that manage only 3 to 4 shots. Available in various calibers, the .50-90 Sharps became most famous as the Buffalo cartridge, firing a massive 500-grain bullet with devastating accuracy at ranges between 500 and 1,000 yards. Extreme distances for that era. The rifle weighed between 10 and 14 pounds, depending on the model, and many came equipped with double-set triggers for extreme precision shooting. Union sharpshooters, particularly Bairden's sharpshooters during the Civil War, used Sharps rifles to deadly effect, while buffalo hunters on the Great Plains wielded them to kill 50 to 100 buffalo daily, leading to the near extinction of the species. Buffalo Bill Cody famously carried a Sharps rifle he nicknamed Lucretia Borgia during his buffalo hunting days. Historians estimate that over 50 million American buffalo were killed, with the majority falling to Sharps rifles, effectively ending the Plains Indian way of life by destroying their primary food source and inspiring long-range sharpshooting competitions that continue today. Henry Rifle. The Henry Rifle was the first practical repeating rifle featuring a revolutionary lever action mechanism and 16-round tubular magazine that transformed firearm capabilities when production began in 1860. Manufactured until 1866, this predecessor to the Winchester fired .44 Henry rimfire cartridges through a 24-inch octagonal barrel and weighed 9.5 pounds, making it manageable despite its advanced technology. Only 14,000 total units were manufactured, making authentic Henrys extremely rare today, and the rifle's $40 to $50 price tag was prohibitively expensive for most buyers during the era, limiting widespread military adoption despite its clear advantages. The Henry's famous advertising slogan proclaimed, "Load on Sunday, shoot all week," highlighting its unprecedented magazine capacity compared to single-shot rifles that dominated battlefields. The distinctive brass receiver frame gave the rifle a golden appearance that made it instantly recognizable, and some Union soldiers who purchased their own Henry rifles used them during the Civil War to devastating effect. Confederate soldiers reportedly called it "that damned Yankee rifle that can be loaded on Sunday and fired all week," acknowledging its fearsome reputation. The U.S. military officially rejected the Henry due to concerns about ammunition supply and cost, but the design directly led to the improved Winchester Model 1866. Today, surviving Henry rifles sell for over $50,000 at auction, and B. Tyler Henry's 1860 patent revolutionized expectations for repeating firearms forever. Colt Single Action Army Peacemaker. The Colt Single Action Army, universally known as the Peacemaker and nicknamed the Equalizer and the Judge, became the definitive Wild West revolver when production began in 1873 and continues to the present day. This single-action revolver served as the official U.S. military sidearm from 1873 to 1892 and was manufactured in .45 Colt caliber primarily, though .44 40 and .38 40 versions were also produced for civilian markets. The Peacemaker featured a 6-shot cylinder and came in multiple barrel lengths, including 4.75-inch, 5.5-inch, 7.5-inch cavalry standard, and the famous 12-inch buntline special, with the standard model weighing 2.4 pounds. Over 350,000 units were manufactured by 1940 during the first generation of production, with the U.S. Army paying $13 per unit while civilians paid $17, and the gun's case-hardened frame and blued barrel created its distinctive appearance. The Peacemaker's crucial advantage was sharing .44-40 ammunition with the Winchester Model 1873 rifle, allowing frontiersmen to carry one type of cartridge for both weapons. Legendary figures, including Wyatt Earp, Pat Garrett, and later George Patton, carried Peacemakers, and the revolver was involved in virtually every famous gunfight of the era, from the OK Corral to Pat Garrett's confrontation with Billy the Kid. The Peacemaker remains the most famous handgun in history, defining the cowboy gun image permanently in American culture and proving reliable enough to justify continuous production for over 150 years. Winchester Model 1873. The Winchester Model 1873 earned its legendary nickname, "the gun that won the West," through aggressive marketing and genuine frontier dominance, with over 720,000 units manufactured between 1873 and 1919, making it the most popular rifle of the frontier era. This lever-action repeating rifle represented an improved version of the Model 1866, featuring centerfire cartridge technology and a 15-round tubular magazine that gave shooters overwhelming firepower advantage. The rifle's primary point, 44-40 WCF Winchester center fire caliber, offered a critical tactical advantage by sharing ammunition with the Colt Peacemaker revolver, allowing frontiersmen to carry one type of cartridge for both weapons, a combination that became the winning formula of the frontier. Standard rifles featured 24-inch barrels, while carbon versions had 20-inch barrels, with the weapon weighing approximately 9.5 pounds and costing $50 for rifles or $42 for carbines. Winchester offered 3 quality grades: Standard, Deluxe, and the ultra-rare 1 of 1,000 premium models, of which only 136 were ever manufactured, making them extraordinarily valuable to collectors today. Buffalo Bill Cody famously used a Winchester Model 1873 during his Wild West shows, and Theodore Roosevelt owned one during his ranching days. The rifle saw action in virtually every Western conflict, including range wars, Indian wars, and was carried by both lawmen and outlaws throughout the era, cementing its place as the defining long gun of the American frontier and remaining in production today in modified post-1964 versions. Smith & Wesson Schofield. The Smith & Wesson Schofield was a top-break revolver designed by Major George Schofield and manufactured by Smith & Wesson for U.S. cavalry service from 1875 to 1877, representing a significant departure from traditional loading mechanisms. This single-action revolver chambered the .45 S&W Schofield cartridge which was shorter than the standard .45 Colt round, and featured a 6-shot cylinder with a distinctive 7-inch barrel, weighing approximately 2.4 pounds. The U.S. Army purchased 9,000 units, attracted by the revolutionary top break design that allowed the weapon to break open for reloading in just 10 to 15 seconds, compared to over 2 minutes, required for the Colt single-action Army's manual ejection system. Major Schofield had modified Smith & Wesson's existing Model 3 design to create this cavalry-optimized weapon, and its faster reloading capability made it a favorite among outlaws who expected trouble, including Jesse James, Frank James, Virgil Earp, and John Wesley Hardin. The Schofield's critical limitation was ammunition incompatibility, as .45 S&W cartridges wouldn't chamber in Colt revolvers, though .45 Colt rounds would chamber in the Schofield, forcing adoption of the shorter cartridge. Jesse James was carrying a pair of Schofields when he was assassinated in 1882, and production ceased in 1878 after military contracts ended, though collectors today consider it more elegant than the Peacemaker despite its shorter production run and limited 9,000-unit military adoption. Remington Model 1875. The Remington Model 1875 represented Remington's direct challenge to Colt's dominant single-action Army, manufacturing single-action Army revolvers from 1875 to 1889 in an attempt to capture military and civilian markets. This 6-shot single-action revolver was chambered in .4440 or .45 Colt caliber, with later versions offering .44 Remington, and featured a standard 7.5-inch barrel, with distinctive webbing under the ejector rod that prevented damage, weighing approximately 2.6 pounds. Only 25,000 units were manufactured during the production run, a fraction of Colt's 350,000 Peacemakers, as Remington entered the market too late and couldn't overcome Colt's established dominance, despite offering similar quality at slightly lower prices of $12 to $15. The revolver was sold to various police departments and frontier lawmen, and notorious outlaw Frank James carried a Remington Model 1875 during his criminal career, giving the weapon some notoriety. Several units were issued to Indian police on western reservations, and the weapon came standard with a lanyard ring at the base of the grip, a military feature that distinguished it from civilian revolvers. Available in nickel or blue finish, some lawmen preferred the Remington for its sturdier construction and protective web under the barrel. After the death of the manufacturer in 1888, production declined significantly, and today the Remington Model 1875 remains underappreciated by collectors, forever overshadowed by the legendary Peacemaker despite its quality craftsmanship and Frank James's documented ownership during his outlaw years. Bowie Knife. The Bowie knife was a large fixed-blade fighting knife named after legendary frontiersman James Jim Bowie, becoming an essential frontier tool and weapon throughout the American West from the 1830s onward, though no standardized design ever existed. These massive blades typically measured 12 to 15 inches in length, with some custom versions reaching 20 inches, featuring either clip point or spear point designs with distinctive crossguards for hand protection, and thick spines measuring approximately 1/4 inch. The knife became famous after the Sandbar Fight on September 19, 1827, when Jim Bowie disemboweled an opponent despite being shot and stabbed multiple times, cementing its reputation as a devastating close-quarters weapon. Jim Bowie himself died at the Alamo on March 6, 1836, reportedly with his famous knife at his side, transforming him into a frontier legend. The original maker remains debated among historians, though James Black of Arkansas receives the most credit, while Sheffield, England produced thousands of Bowie knives for export to America during the frontier era. Every frontiersman carried a Bowie knife, as it was more common than guns in the early frontier period, serving multiple purposes including fighting, hunting, skinning game, and camp work, making it a symbol of frontier independence and self-reliance. The knife inspired a dueling culture in the South, with some states eventually banning their carry due to their lethal effectiveness, and today, the Bowie knife remains a cultural icon of the American frontier, despite ongoing debates about authenticating surviving examples. Remington Double Derringer. The Remington Double Derringer was an over-under double-barrel pocket pistol manufactured from 1866 to 1935, making it the longest production Derringer in history and earning its reputation as the gambler's gun and weapon of choice for close-range assassination. This extremely compact firearm chambered .41 rimfire short cartridges in 2 barrels, stacked vertically, measuring just 4.9 inches overall with 3-inch barrels and weighing only 11 ounces, making it easily concealable in a vest pocket. Over 150,000 units were manufactured during its production run, making it the most successful Derringer design ever created, with prices ranging from $7 to $8. Affordable enough for widespread civilian ownership. The weapon featured a rotating firing pin that fired the upper barrel first and lower barrel second, though it lacked an extractor mechanism, requiring users to poke out spent shells with a pencil or similar tool. The Remington Double Derringer was the weapon Jack McCall used to assassinate Wild Bill Hickok from behind in a Deadwood saloon on August 2, 1876, forever linking the tiny pistol to one of the West's most famous murders. Gamblers and prostitutes favored the Derringer for its easy concealment, and it became known as the gentleman's weapon, compared to rough cowboy guns, though its effective range was limited to just 10 to 15 feet, making it deadly only at point-blank range and creating its cultural association with treachery and backstabbing. Wild Bill Hickok's Navy Colts. Colt 1851 Navy revolvers with distinctive ivory grips became the most famous revolvers in the American West, carried by the legendary lawman James Butler Hickok throughout his career as a gunfighter and lawman. These .36 caliber revolvers were converted from percussion to .38 rimfire cartridge, featuring 7.5-inch barrels and Hickok's signature ivory grips that made them instantly recognizable in the numerous photographs taken of him during his lifetime. Hickok wore these revolvers in a unique reverse draw position, with the butts facing forward in a red sash, a distinctive style that many other gunfighters attempted to copy after seeing his success. He carried these specific guns during his legendary 1865 gunfight when he killed Dave Tutt in Springfield, Missouri, and used them throughout his tenure as Abilene Marshal in 1871, cementing their reputation through actual combat. On August 2, 1876, Hickok was playing poker in Deadwood when Jack McCall shot him from behind with a Derringer, killing him instantly while he held the infamous dead man's hand. Of aces and eights, and his Navy Colts remained holstered, never drawn in his final moment. The gun's current whereabouts remain unknown, possibly lost to history or held in a private collection, though multiple photographs document their existence and Hickok's distinctive carrying method. Newspapers inflated his kill count to over 100 men, though historians believe the actual number was between 6 and 12. But Hickok created the archetype of the gentleman gunfighter through his style and these legendary revolvers. Billy the Kid's Colt Thunderer, a .41 caliber double-action revolver found at the death scene of William H. of Bonnie after Pat Garrett shot him on July 14, 1881. This specific Colt Thunderer featured a 4.75-inch barrel and double-action mechanism that allowed faster firing without manually cocking the hammer, weighing approximately 2.3 pounds, and offering tactical advantages in close-quarters gunfights. The gun's serial number was documented at the death scene in Pete Maxwell's house, allowing authentication through Colt production records and establishing an unbroken chain of provenance that made it extraordinarily valuable to collectors. Billy the Kid was just 21 years old when Pat Garrett killed him, and legends claimed he had killed 21 men, one for each year of his life, though historians believe the actual number was between 4 and 9 documented killings. The revolver sold at auction in 2021 for an astounding $6.03 million, making it the third most expensive firearm ever sold and proving the enduring fascination with Billy the Kid's legend. The double-action mechanism was less reliable than single-action peacemakers, but offered superior speed in drawing and firing, suggesting Billy prioritized rapid engagement over mechanical reliability in his tactical calculations. Some claim the grip featured carved notches for kills, though experts debate whether these were added later by subsequent owners seeking to enhance the weapon's mystique and value in the lucrative outlaw memorabilia market. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.